Okay, so switching gears, I want to have a look at derivatives because we haven't actually covered this for a little while on this channel. And it's important to know that as the market rallies like this, people they do get excited when they see, 200% green numbers on their spot position. Some of them transfer some of that across and open up some very high leverage. And ultimately, these things create, they create additional risks within the system. Now, lots of folks will look at open interest in USD terms. And of course, that's very, very relevant. And we're getting up to some pretty high levels, right? As you can see, the amount of leverage in the system, we are in very, very thin air territory, right? So just bearing in mind that this red here is FTX, which obviously no longer exists. So we're talking about a very, very different regime. Now, something else to note the purple down the bottom here. Historically, Binance has been the dominant player when it comes to open interest. But the CME in purple is actually driving a very, very significant chunk of this open interest. And we'll explore this in the next chart. But it's important to note that leverage levels, right, we up over $20 billion worth of open interest. But it's obviously important to keep these things in a relative context. Looking at it in terms of USD can be a little bit, I generally look at it in terms of BTC terms as well, which we'll get to. Because if someone puts on a 1 Bitcoin position, and they're doing some kind of cash and carry trade or something of that nature, that open interest will obviously move with the coin price. So yes, it's important to see how much open interest is in the space, but it's also important to look at it from a relative standpoint, whether in BTC terms or in a couple of other metrics we'll look at in a second, to just say, are we seeing a growth in open interest, or is it actually just the coin price moving and essentially all those positions are just still open, right? So just different ways to think about the problem.